Hello, everyone, and thank you for joining today's webinar. My name is David Green. I'm the marketing manager of IDERA, and I will be serving as your host for today's webinar. The topic of this event is Defend SQL Server, Advanced Row-Level Security and Data Masking. Joining us today as the presenters for our event are Pinal Davi of SQL Authority and Ray Rios, Senior Sales Engineer with IDERA. Before I hand things over to Pinal to kick things off, I would like to take a moment to remind you that we'll be hosting a short Q&A after the event. To this end, we ask that you direct any questions you may have during the presentations to the questions panel. On a final note, this webinar is being recorded and will be available to view on demand after the event is concluded at any time. With that, we're ready to get started. Pinal, you have the floor.
All right, everybody, how are you guys? Thank you very much, David, and thanks for having me. I hope all of you guys can hear me fine. If you can hear me, at least a couple of you guys just say yes in a question and answer panel, because that's the place where we are going to have the most conversation, fun conversation, and it's going to be interesting. Well, I know some of you are confused when I say security and interesting. No, it's not. Actually, I'll try my best to make it easy, but security is never easy. So I okay, let's start. Even it's difficult to start. So let's talk about, grandma, right? It's very difficult how to sometimes work with grandma also in a different way. Like they always know what they want to do. And performance tuning is such a thing where grandma can just roll dice and, magic 8 and just come up with something very simple and say, you know what, today I'm going to bake cookies. Today I'm going to make cake. I'm going to do this. And she's settled. She can just roll that and she can just make beautiful thing for their kids and grandchildren's. But security is not like that. You can't just take a guesses. You can't just take a best route possible. You have to be extremely specific when it is about security. You can't mix it up. You can't do a single mistake. There is only one route, and that is to be correct always, every time from the first time. That's it. So that's difficult. And that's where we want to help our grandma understand the security concept. So we'll try to understand that way, but we'll have our demonstration very straightforward and easy to grasp couple of concepts. So very first concept I want to talk about is row level security. So how would we talk about row level security with our grandma? First, let's grab that thing in a couple of minutes. And then after we'll see the demonstration and understand the syntax, plus, minus, and a lot of theory. But first thing, let's understand. So how do we explain, grandma, what is a row level security? So let's assume there's a jar. Okay, jar has a different kind of cookies. Some are sugar-free, some are with sugar, some are with other things. Some has a chocolate chip, some has a lot of different things which we can put it in. But grandma doesn't want their grandchildren to have cookies with sugar. So they want kids to have only sugar-free cookies. If they have a compartment in a jar that which only opens to the grandchild, or the key such a way that which only opens to grandchild, where they can only access the sugar-free cookies, that would be awesome, isn't it? That's what we want to do. So if their elder kids comes who have chocolate chip cookies, then they will open their own key and they will open compartment where there is only chocolate chip cookies. But when grandma herself comes, she has a master key and she can open entire jar and can have any cookies in it. That's how the row level security works. So this is the analogy of row level security. Everybody will have their own access, and based on that, we will see. So I think this is good premises. Now let's see the demonstration, and that's what we are going to do. So thank you, IDERA, for having me. And we will also have more of my friend presenting something really cool if you just stay around all the way till the end of this presentation. So yeah, let's try starting talking about row level security. I just made up some notes here how I would explain to my grandma, and that's what I wrote it. And everybody loves the grandma. So yeah. Okay, so let's come back to the row level security. And how does it work? Where does it place? Well, first of all, the most outer thing is SQL Server authentication, which is authentication to server. And then after, the more granular thing is database authorization, where once you get into SQL Server, you'll get into the database, and then after you will go to the table level. And this was possible few years earlier. But now you can even further go down and can do a row level security, row level rules in SQL Server. So let's see this. If you go on internet and also in some of the IDERA resources, there are some great resources on this topic. But so you can search for them because everything is recorded. But today, row level rules, and let's see how it works. So yeah, there are why we should implement. Well, there are many reasons, and I'm not going to read this one. You guys didn't come here to read theories. Theories you can find on internet. But I think I want to highlight on a very important thing is that limit data exposure to specific user. That's one of the primary thing of row level security, and that's what it is most about. I won't say all about, but most about. But there are other reasons as well, and there are many use cases like particularly HIPAA case, GDPR, where you just want to expose certain amount of the financial details to certain organization in some certain place. And same thing with the healthcare system as well. You don't want everybody to see everybody. You should have a proper access. So those kind of things. So now I think I enough talked about it. Let's see a demonstration. If you have any question, please let me know. And if you like the demo at any point of time, please drop a note also, so I know that you guys are watching and things are going fine. I'm just starting creating a very first demonstration, and I've just created a database which is called security demo. Now I just dropped it actually. Now I'm creating it, and after creating it, I am using it and will be creating very first table, which is called employee. Now after creating employees, thank you guys. You guys are encouraging, dropping a lot of notes. I read everybody's name, so thanks for joining. And yeah, so now I'm going to insert just simple 3 rows over here, one for HR, one for finance, and one for IT. Our goal is that if somebody has a role of finance, they can go and only get this row. If somebody has a role of HR, they can only see this row. And if somebody has a role of IT, they can do it. And you would not believe, I do performance tuning day in, day out. And this is one of the questions I learned from my client, because my client doesn't want, they have a multi-tenant thing in a single database. So they don't have like each database for their customer, single table. Now they have a lot of data, and they just want to make sure one client do not see other clients' data, even by accident, because that can violate and put them into problems. So well, I'm just executing this one over here, 3 rows in it. And remember, HR, finance, and IT. Now after that, I need 3 users I'm going to create. So well, I'm going to keep the name simple. You can see, and I'm not creating logins for them, just users. Hold on, I have a question for you. Do you guys know the difference? Yes, you will definitely have demonstrations later on, but pay attention to here right now. And let's all of us try to answer one thing. Do you guys know the difference between user and login? This is very critical thing. 10 out of 100 people, so I would say 1 out of 10 people don't know the difference about it. And that's crazy. And the rest of the 9 people, sometimes they know, but sometimes they don't know. So login is very different thing than user. And I would like to see if you can answer me that. And if you have time, we will, I also have a demonstration for that, but I can't promise you that we will go and see that. So how about I just give you a one just glimpse of it, and then maybe this time or maybe next time I'll show you this demonstration. So SQL Server instance is installation, of the SQL Server has a login, and database which is inside it has the user. So you can have a login and may not have a user. That means you can't get into any database. Or if you have a login and have a user in one of the database, then you can go there. So user at database level, login at instance level or SQL Server level. Well, that's just basic thing to remember. And as I said, security, we just have a one right way. In a performance tuning, I can say, try that thing, all this. No, security, one right way. So I'm just creating users and I'm not creating logins. So you can do that also. You can just have a database for a user like HR and the one I created it. So now I am going to give them a select permission. This is important because I want them to select. I don't want them to read, insert, or delete. So this logins won't have every rights. They can just read. That's it. And only from this table, employees. That's it. Okay, and I'm just giving them show plan right now just because I'm giving the various permissions. I will talk about this little later, like 5 minutes later, and we will talk more stuff about it. And I like it that you guys are continuously giving us comments. So thank you very much. I appreciate it. Now, let's do this. So first of all, I am just going to try this HR as a user. So I'm going to say execute as HR. This will change the context of my current user, whatever it is. It is actually SA, which or it's a system admin, not SA, it's a system admin, which I logged in, but it will change it to HR. And then I'll try to read data from employees and then I'll revert. Let's see what happens. I just want my HR to have access to my HR related rows. HR can see everything. Maybe HR can see everything. How about finance? Let's see that. They can see everything. IT, they can see everything. Well, they will all see everything because I did not configure any other thing. Just created user, give a complete select permission to every single row. Now, if I want to restrict them, remember this is the learning point. This is the point. If you're doing anything else right now, you would just come back to this particular demonstration and just pay attention just for 1 minute. Stay with me. And if you have never configured row level security, if you are considering it, I would help you right now before the end of this session that you exactly know what to do, how to do, and what else you can do. So here we go. We are creating a function. This is a very important thing, first thing which we will have to create, which is creating security predicate function. And this function actually defines the security logic for our row level security. And this is how you do. You create a given function that is accepting a parameter. Right now, I'm just going to keep it simple. It's going to take only single parameter. And then I'm just creating function. And here, I'm just going to say select one as. Now here you can give any name. You can even say my name, your name, or just say anything or any variable. This is just alias. But I just like to keep it very similar to the function because then I know what I'm doing. It's just naming convention, but don't just think it's so complicated. You can just have anything here. But where department ID is equal to username, and this is the username which is being passed in. So this is the function which I am creating. So now you may think, where will I use this function? Hold on to that. Hold on to that. First, let's create the function which you will return 1 as a result if the user which is being passed. So yeah, there we go. Created function. Now we'll take this particular function and then associate that back to the security policy. This is two critical things. These are two critical things which we must do. If you are there right now, if you're confused, definitely I'll send you the code and you can do everything. But this is the two things which you have to do. So if you want to take a screenshot, go ahead and do it. So at least you have it. So you don't worry about it. And you can always reach out to me. I'll share coordinates afterwards. And this is recorded. So you can just also go along with it. So now, second thing which we are going to do is going to create a security policy. Most important thing, if you want to implement row level security, the very first thing, create a function. Very second thing, create the security policy. Create security policy, name of it, and add filter. Predicate. What is predicate? Okay, 3 people ask me. Okay, great. Okay, many people may know what is predicate, but it's just like a search condition, let's say that way, or something which we use in a where condition, or something which we are looking for. So here the predicate is security policy is adding as a filter to this particular function as the predicate, as a something it is going to look for. So policy would look for on employee table. That's what it will do. So now let's understand. So we are associating security policy to this particular employee table where we are always going to filter based on this function which accepts department as a parameter, and it will return 1 based on the username. And then we are also making the status of this policy as on. If you do not specify this, it will by default create as off. One of my clients just created all of this and said, it's not working, your policy is not working. Well, if you create the policy, then later on you just have to turn it on. So that's what you have to do. So now I explain this policy and I'm turning this on. Now let's do an experiment. Here is my HR, and that is So I'm just going to execute as HR, and this is my employee table. Just like I'm not passing any where condition or anything. Let me just run this. What does this one see? Only row with HR. Good. What about finance? Oh, it's seeing only finance stuff. All right. What about IT? Well, it's only seeing the IT stuff. Well, there we go. So now if I run all these three together, you can see each of the department can only see the data which is relevant to them. Thank you for saying it's interesting. It is interesting. And I'm telling you, I am implementing this with my clients. And this is working. A lot of people think I only do performance tuning. No, you have to do all this as a part of a performance tuning. And most important thing, we are one database. What I mean by that, no matter which database you have, you all have to do everything because you are a DBA most of the time. Everything goes bad, it's your responsibility. Everything goes good, it's everybody else. Okay, that was just truth, just accidentally. I just said it, but yeah. So it's fun. We are all friends here, so safe place to say the truth. Yeah, it happens to me all the time. When something goes wrong, everybody looks at me. And when I say, why are you guys looking at me? I said, you can fix it. Mostly, no, that's not a right answer. They are looking at me because they think I broke it. Well, anyway, coming back to the point, now you can see this way. So, and if you want, you can just turn off the policies also. This is the way you can turn off the policy. After turning off policy, what happens if I run the same thing again? Everybody says everything. There we go. Yeah. And also you can create, if you want, you can create another role, which is a CEO, and who can see everything, right? Those kind of thing you can do. And this is just for selecting. So did you guys have with me so far? Okay, a couple of you are saying, can you just repeat from the beginning? I'll repeat just once, only once, okay? So very simple, I created a table, created a users without login, but you can have user with login. Then I'm giving some permissions. Then after, I'm giving show plan. I'll show you why I'm doing it. And now you can just run this. When you run this, you will pretty much see everything. But now when you apply the function over here, this is the first thing you have to do, where you create a function where you pass a parameter. Now associate this function to the policy as a filter. You can have a multiple thing over here too, but that you can read in documentation. Now I have just turned this one on by over here. And then after, when you run each of them without specifying, without changing anything, you can see various things. You can see only things which you need. Yeah. And also, if you want to turn on the policy, you can turn on this way. And now let's see a very important thing which I promised earlier. What is about the execution plan, right? So turn on the execution plan. Let's see what happens. The execution plan is here. And I mouse, that's not in correct English, mouse overing. I'm moving my mouse over this operator, and look at that. What does it show us? Okay, now we have a predicate over here where whatever is the username which we have is being passed as our employee over here. This is being done automatically. And actual number of rows read is 3, but only one of them is our result as a part of the result. You can see how it is related to performance tuning. Right now it's a scan. Well, then you can convert to the seek and a lot of things. Yeah, that's just how you can do various things. So anyway, this is the object, which is right now it's a primary key, but it can also search to your indexes and things. So this is like your regular table, but very, very smart. I hope you understood this particular part, right? Predicates, so automatically adding the where condition based on a username. Now, this was a pretty simple thing, super, super simple thing. Now, a lot of people are asking, what about performance tuning? Same performance tuning rules works there, but it's additional where. So you just have to have this one index and things. The common performance tuning things which you will have to do over here, and you can get the better performance out of it. Okay, so a couple of you are asking is this function built in? No, I just built it myself. Create function. You can have any name over here, and you can have any name over here. You can have any name over here, and that's it. And yeah, it will just start working. You just have to create a function, associate function with this policy on this table, and state on, and you are go. All right, you guys like it? Let me know if you guys like it. Then I'll show something more on this one. Otherwise, I'll switch to another one. I have plenty good demos. I do this for living. So I don't do teaching for living. I do performance tuning consultation and security consultation for living. Yeah. Show more. Good job. All right. So you guys already know we can do the select part. Select part, I think it's pretty clear to you guys so far that how we can do. But not only that, you can also do about insert, update, delete, and you can stop them. For example, I'm creating another function, just pay attention. I'm creating another function where I'm returning a table where this is schema binding as usual. This is returning one. This time it's also filtering, and name of the function is this. Okay, now a couple of you can say that, could I have used the previous one? Yes, I could have used the previous function, but just for clarity, I'm creating another function right now, and I'm adding a new security policy. Instead of predicating, this time I'm blocking after insert, after update, and after delete. And I'm associating all these policies to the employee table. Look, I can do all this thing together. You can do mix and match, lot of things. If you want to really go deep into this one, you would love this one. You will, yeah. It's like infinite thing you can do. And now I think it's already on, but I still want to turn it on, the policy. It's on. So this is the policy I had to turn on. It was not on. Now I'm just inserting grant insert of the delete on employee. If I don't do that, anyway, it will not happen, right? This is the older way to prevent them. But I do want them to work on their department. If I don't grant and if I just deny, like a couple of you are asking, if I deny, what will happen? Well, if I deny them, right? If I deny them, then it will deny on entire table. That's what it is. But I only want on certain data. That is what we want to talk about. So now if I'm going to execute as HR, and if I enter data with HR, and if I update data where there is HR, which is employee ID 1, or if I delete the data with 1, each of them should be successful. And let's see that. Okay, let's see the first one. Okay, insert work. How can we check? Well, we will run select in a second. Okay, and let's update the employee. Joe Doe updated. Okay, somebody wants to just see insert now. Okay, fine. We'll see. You will see 2 rows with HR now. Okay, fine. Now I am going to update this one. Works. Now we will run the select again. Fine. You can see Joe Doe updated. And if I run the delete will also go through just fine. And look at that. We won't see that particular row now in our result set. It's gone. Done. Isn't that fun? You can only do with your table. Well, let's see. Now I'm going to change. I'm going to revert this. So now it's back to everybody. Now I'm just changing it to finance. And if I'm going to insert with IT, pay attention. IT, this will fail. It is failed. Okay, good. I can't insert anything in my different one. What about update? It won't give us error, but it will definitely fail because employee ID 3 is from ID. You can see update equal to 0 rows. It didn't update. This is something else, but 0 rows. So it didn't update it. What about this? Delete from employees. It will also say 0 rows. If it is really deleting something, it will say so how many rows it deleted. And if you really want to see employee 4 is there or not, well, we can just run this. We can just run this. Oh, no. Yeah. There's a problem. So I just turned it off. Yeah, I can't find employee filter. Something happened here. What did I do wrong? Anyway, but we can see this. Let's run this. Principal, because HR doesn't exist, this principal cannot be impersonate. Oh, I know what I did wrong. If you can, anybody can tell me what did I do wrong? Hint on a screen, hint on a screen, hint on the screen. Okay, I did not reverted it. I should have reverted it. If I don't revert it, I would get a different result. So yeah, that is exactly what was happening. Look at the line number 4 is still there. See, it was trying to look at as finance because I did not reverted it. So yeah, look at that. Security is so good. It just doesn't let you make mistake. Sometimes it's good to implement the right policies so we don't make accident mistakes. And this is just one thing. I'm just trying to give this you an example. I mean, you can implement any way you want to implement, right? I mean, you can implement whatever you want to do. And now a couple of you are asking why I'm reverting it, because I just don't want, I'm just impersonating right now. But if you are actually logged in as HR, you don't have to revert it. Here I'm only reverting it to, I can show you the demonstration. It is never needed. It was reverting this particular impersonation of the security. And that's why when we revert this one, it will just make me original user. This was impersonation. Or if you log in as an HR, then you will get it. See, in this demonstration, I cannot just keep on login multiple times and change the screen. You guys will be all confused. You guys will think, okay, he has been, looks like he is not good trainer. And I'm not actually, I'm more of a consultant who accidentally have to do this kind of thing and learn things with you guys. Thank you. I love the good comments. So I hope you guys learned this one. And see, again, understand, this is the only thing you can do it if you have a limited amount of the data, limited amount of the things, limited amount of the resources, but you cannot just do this thing on a production this easily. For that, you need some really horsepower. You need a lot of help. You need a lot of energy and a lot of coordination between various elements of the SQL Server. And this is exactly my friend Ray will demonstrate to you after 20 minutes. So please stay and watch he has to say. He's going to take the concepts beyond what I'm explaining. There are so many more things about security he's going to cover, and he's going to say how you can implement the robust security for your organization much efficiently. But that's later on, not now. So, okay, this was the demonstration for row level security, and I hope you guys understood what it is. I mean, there are many reasons why you want to do it, and now you know the use cases about it. Thank you for all the good words which you guys are sending. Now it's time to talk about another fun, very much simpler topic, but fun. Fun is always there, right? And particularly it's fun when we have to explain anything to the grandma and return of the grandma. So sometimes grandma are very careful about what they actually are putting into the cake. They don't want to share with everybody. They might have a magic spice which make grandma's cake, cookies, and everything she makes extremely delicious. I love my grandma's food, and this is all now. But yeah, so that's it. I mean, you know, that anything grandma makes it, but sometimes she doesn't want to share the recipe right away to everybody. It is at the right time she shares the right recipes. So what can she do? I mean, if she just mark magic spices to her recipe, then we all know what are those magic spices and start using it. So sometimes she can just rename that as a flour or anything else, and we just get confused because we really don't know what is in it. Similarly, if there are sugar-free cookies, she may rename it to anything else, and we may not know if there are sugar-free cookies or not, and we may not pick it up. So this kind of thing, that's exactly is about dynamic data masking. So, you know, that's today's topic, and we are going to learn. This is the second topic of the day. There are two things we are here to learn, and I hope the second demonstration also makes you happy. The same way as the first one. Why would you do that? Well, look at the reason. Limiting data exposure to specific user, the same thing which we do. And a couple of you are saying, where did I get images from? I'm not going to talk much, but if you have carefully watched it, you could have figured out. If you look at that, how did I get those images? You will not find that ever. Matter of the fact, I can't even get it again. And yeah, so fine. Let's see if you guys can guess it. Where did I get these images from? It's fun one. Okay, so these are the reasons why you would have the dynamic data mask. Most importantly, you just don't want everybody to see everything. What are the use cases? Like in a financial, you don't want everybody to see your credit card. You don't want healthcare system. You want to be very careful with HIPAA. In HR, you don't want everybody to see security, social security number, or even money, or you know, those kind of thing. And you know, that's what grandma do. They just sometimes just rename things, and we just don't know. Let's see the demonstration. Everybody, let's start. And here I just created a demonstration which is called dynamic data masking demonstration, creating very small table which I'm going to call the customer. Inserting 3 rows, customer name, ID, first name, last name, email, credit card number, and date of birth. These are the things you don't want to just share with everybody, right? Yeah. Okay, now I just inserted that. So far, everything was going good. Now, these are the 3 lines. Magic ingredients. Last time I told you that there are few lines which were important. There are functions and a policy. Now here, just adding this particular data masking. This is it. So there are many ways to do it. I just want to show you the very simple thing. Like if it is an email and if you want to mask, you can just use the basic function. You can say alter table, command name, alter column, email, add mask with, and then the name of the function, then the name of the function. That's it. Many of you got it right where I got images from, and many of you also figured out that human anatomy sometimes when we use generative AI is not perfect. So yeah, and thank you. Yeah, smart of you. We all live in the age of AI. And on that topic, I have beautiful, amazing presentation on IDERA on how to use ChatGPT to improve your performance. Please go and search in IDERA resources, watch them, and you don't have to hire expensive performance training consultant like me. You can just get it free if you just know how to use ChatGPT. And I did those presentation there. So thanks to IDERA, search on IDERA's website, you'll find those things. They are so kind, so cool people, so much give back to community. Now here, email, add mask to the email. So this is what I'm going to do, mask. What will be the result? You'll see in a second. Similar thing I'm doing for credit card. And this time I'm just going to use the another function instead of email. Email is default. Here is a partial where I'm going to specify the length and say, first few rows, just make them X and then just show the last 4 rows. That's what it is. And then there is the date of birth. And here I'm going to use another function called default. Well, what happens? Well, using this function is pretty straightforward, pretty simple and things, but there is something more cool I'm going to show you at the end of it. So just stay for that. If you have used this one, then many people might have used it, but if you have used it, great. Then I'm going to show you something fun. Another user I'm going to create it. This time there won't be confusion. This is the user which I'm going to pretend that I'm going to use it, and I'm going to customer. I'm going to granting the select on that particular user right now over here, and another user, and this user. That's fine. This user I didn't do anything right now. Okay, now I am granting select on customer to this user and unmask on this user. So this user, okay, I'll explain you. This you might have confused. There are 2 users. One is regular user who cannot see everything, and one is admin user who can see everything. So because it has unmasked permission, Now I'm going to run first query as a regular user, and then I'm going to select from my customer and just see what's going to show us, right? Let's see that. Oh, okay. If you're a regular user, please don't get confused with revert. I'm just reverting this particular user. That's it. So, and I did not create the user. You can log in as this user. I have to create a login, map it to this database. It's a long process, which will confuse you. That's why I'm just impersonating. And now you can see emails are gone. Credit card is there, not there. Everybody's birthday. You can't. I would be surprised. Actually, you will find it funny that once upon a time, when I leave the date of birth empty, one of the database picked this one is my birth date, and I was flagged, when I was flying, and they said, if you can't be this age. Your age is over your flying age, and they said beyond 110 you need medical certificate. I was like, dude, no, I'm not there yet, and figure out that they just had this kind of masking there, and the person was new. And they just inserted from this data, and that's what happened. So, but if it is admin user, just see what happens. Admin user can see everything. That's simple. Now, many of you may ask me a funny question. I have a question for you guys now. Please pay attention. This you may not know or may know. Either way, let's play a game. We have a time. We have a time for another 7 minutes before I have my friend talking to you, even in a grander scale. But this 7 minutes are mine. So let's play a game. What do you guys think will happen? This is the regular user, right? You guys know that regular user cannot see data. Let's see. It cannot see data. it cannot see data. Now, if I put a where condition, can it retrieve? Can this person retrieve? Yes or no? Just be fun. It's okay to be wrong. When you're wrong, you learn more. When you're right, it just reinforces your knowledge. So, in either case, you win. So this person cannot see. This person cannot see actually original data. So when we run this where condition, can they retrieve? Okay. I see most of you are saying no. There are a couple of yeses as well. Hello, the conversation, the energy. Seems like I'm doing performance tuning session. So many of you, so much interaction, so much creative answer, and so many correct, and most of them wrong answer. Oh, I didn't say that. Okay, just some fun because you guys are my friend. We are talking for 35 minutes. Aren't we friends now? So now when I run this one, you can see the person can definitely retrieve. Even though, this is the funny part, if you know what is being masked and when you query, you can get that detail. So yeah, it's definitely recorded. You can watch it later on. So there you go, my friend. If even though you can't see things, if you know exact detail, you can definitely query that. Look at that. Here is the email address. Cool, isn't it? Fun. Yeah. And similarly, admin user can also see it. Yeah, no problem. Look at that. This is admin user's code. They are anyway seeing it, right? And obvious question, if you're a performance tuning expert, what people are going to ask you, what is the performance difference between both of them? For SQL Server, nothing. They can see pretty much same most of the time. Once in a while, I've seen mass data is slow sometime, but there is no conclusive event. I can't tell you. I haven't seen anything. I don't see anything in the documentations and anything. So yeah, there you go, my friends. Isn't it fun? Isn't it interesting? You can hide the data from everybody. So sometimes you can just add this kind, like when people dump from the live server to when they dump data from live to uh, their dev system or staging system or any of the mimicking system of the production one, sometimes they struggle because that query stopped working because of the parameters are still passed which are correct, but they cannot show the real data to the developer because of the company regulations, data mask, data security, a lot of things, HIPAA rules and GDPR and things. And they struggle because they can't do the performance tuning on their EA, on their this kind of staging server or their dev server. In that time, many of my clients sometimes just mask them. So the dev doesn't have access, but when the query runs with actual data, which runs, but data which they see is, yeah, what we see is masked. How fun it is. Do you guys like this one? Same thing happens with this regular, if you know the credit card, any data, right? Now you understood. So if you have any data, if you have the original number, you can get it. And yeah, admin user always are going to get it. And if you want to see everything, like what is going on, which table, which column, is it masked or not, you can just run from select from mask columns and you can get the various details. And look at that, it tells you certain information, name of the table. I mean, you can add more columns as you need, but I just wanted to be here and tell you that these are the things you can do. Name of the table, name of the column, mask and email. So I think we are pretty much done what I wanted to discuss, but I still have 2 more minutes. Do you guys want me to do you guys want me to show something more in 2 minutes? I need at least few yeses. Otherwise, I'll hand over to even better person, my friend, who is gonna do. So, okay, we are gonna do still 2 minutes from race time, and then gonna do show this one. So login and user. However, I'm gonna to explain what is login and user to my grandma. That's the question which I wanted to explain you. So grandma trusts everybody, right? I mean, it will give a key to the mailman, it will give a key to everybody in a family, it will get to neighbor because grandma is just full of love and respects all their kids and family and friends. And that's sometimes good because grandma will just go and give a key to the neighbor and they'll water the plant. The guy will come and read the newspaper. They will give you mails or take away mails or family. So login means entry to the database, and user are the person and their access area, living room, garden, or anywhere. That's what it is. And yeah, so that is login and user. And as I said, I want to show you I'm not going to run this demonstration, but I'm going to explain you same way that if you create login, that is related to your server, and if you create a user, that is related to your system. So that is how it works. And how can you create it? You can create this way. So now when you create user, and you can also create login. So many of you might have been confused earlier that I was creating without login, but you can create user with login as well, and you can map them. So this is what I wanted to convey today. And I think this is the right time. This is the conversation I wanted to do it. Login is with instance, database is with user, and we have talked about a row level security, dynamic data mask. And if you like what I've just done it, leave the comments, and definitely would come back and will present something more interesting, more fun. Security is fun, right? Making this particular diagrams, images, right? I can't say the images was fun for me. I mean, I tried my best. So I hope you guys liked it. And this is exactly the time where you want to learn from my friend, how can you do it at enterprise level more effectively, more ground way, and particularly just systematically. Everything should be signed. So at this point, my friend Ray, it's over to you, sir.
Thank you so much. Can you hear me okay?
Yes.
Perfect. Okay. Let me see if I can share my screen. I don't know if I have access to that. I think I do now. Okay. And please, David, if you can let me know, can you see my screen?
Yes, I can.
Perfect. Perfect. Thank you so much. Okay, thank you for that presentation. So now what we're going to discuss here is some tools that might help you with some of the things that Dave was talking about, right? So we have a security suite that is comprised of two main products. One is it's called the one that we're looking at right now, SQL Secure, and the other one is Compliance Manager, which allows you to do the auditing of your SQL Server. So we'll talk about those two briefly here, and then we'll go into the question and answers so we can have some of those questions and answers at the end for Dave and myself. So, okay, so the one that we're looking at here is SQL Secure. And SQL Secure, basically, the main objective of this product is to take a look at your security model. So instead of you doing this in a manual way, it will do a scanning of your SQL Server, and based on some policies that we're going to see here in a second that are doing some checks of security, it will prompt you if things are not in compliance. We call them high. You can see here high risk, low risk, or maybe informational stuff, right? So it will give you all of that assessment of your security model. So based on, again, on a specific template that we have, we can assess what is your security model. Obviously, that template can be customized to your needs and to your requirements. Maybe you have either company requirements or government requirements. The whole point is that you can customize that to create a baseline and say every server should have this type of security right on my SQL Server. So when you run it, you will get a result like this, right? You will get of all the things that are not in compliance that you might need to take care of, right? Whether it is direct access permissions or SQL job permissions, or maybe max number of concurrent sessions. So it will give you all of those things here. And on the bottom, it will tell you exactly what is the finding. And the finding might be, well, what permissions public role has, right? So it might tell you here which permissions public role has in which databases, right? So you can take care of that. So it's telling you, hey, this is not in compliance with what we decided that we wanted to do it as a baseline, right, for the compliance. And whether you have something that might be in a warning state as well, right? It will give you all of that information here of the checks, what passed and what didn't pass, right? In this case, the red is going to be your high risk, and the medium risk will be your yellow Low risk, either it could be low risk or it could be informational, but it gives you, some level of risk tolerance that you have. Now, like I said earlier, how do we check all of these things, right? So if we go here, you can either create a new policy. I'm going to edit the policy here. So you can see all the security checks that we have, right? And actually, let me start from create a policy. So you can see when we create a policy, it takes you through a wizard. You can either create a new policy. That means all of those different checks that we can do, and we can do them all from zero, from starting point. But I like to use a policy template. And that means that we already give you a bunch of different templates that might be beneficial for you to use, or maybe it's something that is required for you to do, right? Based on your compliance that you need to have with government entities or your organization, right? So it might be something like CIS, right? It might be DISA, right? That you might have to do. It might be something with the European Union, okay? GDPR regulations that you might have. It might be HIPAA, which, health guidelines. So if you start, let's say, for example, with HIPAA, you would have 83 different checks that HIPAA requires you to have in a SQL Server. You can also do, maybe you don't have any of those regulations, right? But you might want to do a basic or balanced or strong. So these are IDERA templates that we have. So once you choose one of those, let's say we choose this one, we have 91 checks. So you can change the title of that if you want, but you go through all the different checks that we have. And then you can enable or disable the ones that you need. And then you can go change each of those to basically what is it that you want it to be. Risk level, external cross-reference, usually that is more for, let's say if you're running a Sarbanes-Oxley or any other documentation that you have, you can put the section that requires that there. So maybe section 3.1, it requires this specific always encrypted check, right? So you can put information here, cross-reference with a different document. But it gives you all of this information and the criteria that it needs to follow in order to have that check on that server, okay? So once you do that and you configure that, then you can run what we call a snapshot. And a snapshot would be like a photography, right, of your SQL Server security model. And then we will give you a report like this where it gives you everything that you need to do. Now, in this product, we do not change anything. All we do is read your security model. This is very important. We're not changing anything at all. All of the changes that you're going to do outside of this product. So you're going to use Management Studio or any admin tool that you might have to do all those changes, but you don't do anything here. All we're doing is presenting this to you. Now, you can do different assessments, and you can label those assessments, right? Like December or August or whatever you want to label them, right? Whatever title. The whole thing about this is that you can compare different assessments. So if I can go to a comparison, I can say, as of now, and maybe I want to compare that to August, right? And then you can compare if you're actually getting better or worse with those assessments. So basically, are you improving with, the enforcement that you've done outside of this tool for security, right? So some of the things that we were talking about in the presentation today, you can do those outside, but come here and make sure that those are either getting better, improving, or maybe if there's anything else that you didn't know that you're still not within the compliance of your security model that you need to have, okay? The other thing that we can do here, it's the second part of this product, is to explore users' permissions, right? So that's one of the things that if we go here, we can say explore, and you can choose a user. It could be a SQL login or Windows user. So I'm going to choose one here. And that user, I want to see what kind of permissions he has on a specific database, right? So I'm going to do financial records here. I'm going to show the permissions. So you're going to see here all of the permissions that that user has assigned at the server level and at the database level. So now you can drill down here and take a look at some of those permissions that you have, right, that are assigned to that user. Now, what you can see here, we have one permission at the server level, 220 different permissions at the database level. Now, once you have this information, you can export that to Excel if you want to, or you can create reports in this tool as well. But one of the things that this tool allows you to do is also go to the effective permissions. And that is calculating things like inheritance, right? So if you belong to a group, maybe you have other permissions that are not necessarily assigned to you as a user, but they're coming from somewhere else, some other group. So immediately we go from 220 permissions to 543, right? And then you can start looking at all of those permissions and taking a look at the details of all of that, right? So this is one way of understanding all of the different permissions that you might have for a user that you might have to, at some point, either revoke or something like that. Again, you don't do it here in this tool, you would do it outside. So the reports we come up with, I don't know, I forgot how many on this tool we have. It's probably about 20 different reports that we have that you can create here. And you can see also these reports in reporting services. Now, that is a SQL Secure product. But once you do all that enforcement, right, of your security model, then you want to do the day-to-day auditing, right? So that's why the security tool includes also the auditing product, which is called the SQL Compliance Manager. And this product, basically in a nutshell, it's going to take a look at all the activity that you're doing in a SQL Server, and we're going to be able to audit that information. So what does that mean? DMLs, insert, update, delete, executes, right? DDLs, which are a lot of them, create roles or alter store procedures, alter index, create index, all of those. There's probably hundreds of those that we can have in the list, right? Administrative actions, if you do backups or if you run, like a DBCC check DB, okay? Security changes that you do. So there's any activity that you do, logins, fail logins, logouts, all of that will be captured here. Now, the beauty about this product, it works different from a SQL audit or maybe other competitors out there, that they basically read logs, right? They read all these logs, audit logs, and then they filter the information down. The problem with that is capturing all of that data is taxing on the SQL Server as far as resources, CPU, memory, and even disk, right, where you're going to write all this information can be huge. But it's also going to slow down your system. The other thing is when you look at that data, you're looking at huge logs that you're filtering information now. It's also going to be slow. The way we do it is we don't do it that way. We actually capture what we need to capture for auditing. So now we're capturing only the information that is needed. That means tables. That means columns that we need to at the column level, right? That means types of things that we want to gather, right? Categories, meaning do I need DDLs? Do I need DMLs? Do I need DMLs, insert, update, delete, execute, in every table that I have? Or maybe out of the 100 tables that I have, only 20 of those need to be capturing DML information, okay? Do I need to have begin transactions, commit transactions that takes a bunch of space and events that maybe I don't need them, maybe I do, but we have ways of filtering that information out. So now you don't use a lot of storage to store all this information. And to manage also the storage, how long do I want to keep that data? And when do I want to do an archive? And how long do I want to keep those archives? And then how long do I want to see that data back, right? So all of that information is included in this product, which is not reading huge logs, it's creating a better management of your auditing information. So when you do that, what you can see here is that you can do the properties for each instance, right, of what specifically you want to collect data on. So if you don't need logins or logouts or fail logins or or anything like that, you can select exactly what is it that you want to capture. Okay. Now it's up to you. I always say it's up to you. It's up to the needs of your organization, but it also is up to your compliance that you need to have. So maybe if this server Taylor here would be a health and in the health insurance business, right? Maybe I need to be in compliance with a regulation guideline. So I have a way also of saying this server needs to be compliant with HIPAA, right? So I can go here, select HIPAA, and then it says, okay, HIPAA requires all of these things. Okay. So everything that's grayed out, that means that I already have it on mine selected, but they also require security changes. They don't require logins, and they might require some other things, right? So you can see here that it takes you through that wizard to be in compliance with whatever, governance you might have. Now, once I do that, I can also go to each database and take a look at the properties of that as well. So I can select what I want to hear, DMLs, DDLs, administrative actions. One of the big ones here is selects. So one of the things that we can do about selects is that we do not need to capture selects because there's thousands and millions probably a day or on a weekly basis, right? And those selects are not doing anything. They're not writing, they're not inserting anything, they're not updating anything at all. So do we want to capture all of that information that is not needed for auditing? Well, maybe not. But maybe we only want to capture a subset of that. And that is usually what we define as sensitive information, right? So if I do a read on any specific table, even a column within a table, right, that is not sensitive, I don't care about that. I don't need to capture that event, right? But if I'm reading information about salary information or something like Social Security or something that might be sensitive, and somebody's reading that information, and then I can do that based on columns. Then I can go here to sensitive columns. So for example, I have a table here that is called the commission table, and I have 4 columns there: high sales, low sales, partner. Right? Only if somebody reads the information that is in the column rate, commission rate, I'm sorry. Okay. So that's the one that is sensitive. That is the percent that I pay to my partners. I don't want anybody to see that. Now, if I read high sales, low sales, the name of the partner, I don't care about that, right? I'm not going to capture any of those. But if I do, I select all, let's say in this table, and I'm reading that information, then I want to mark it as sensitive. So I want to see who did it, when they did it, how they did it, and so on, right? So that is the whole point of doing this configuration. And you can do it very granular to gather the information that is needed for your audit. Now, when you look at here, financial records, for example, I can see my recent events that I had in the last minutes or so, right? But I can also go to audit events, which I can filter all this information down. Now, remember I told you we're only gathering the information that we need. So we already have filtered a lot of information. We already enable or disable what we don't need, right? We can go to the DML, which I didn't talk about that, but we can go to the DML and say, you know what, I don't want DML on everything. I want DML only on certain tables. So I have a bunch of tables, but I only want to do it on those 3 tables. So basically, I am minimizing the resources that I'm going to use, minimizing the storage that I'm going to use also for all this auditing information. So now I go here and I can see, all of my events. Do I want to see today's events? Do I want to see today's events that are DDLs, right? And do I want to filter that by, let's see what we have here, drop schema maybe, right? So I can go to drop schema and I can see all of those, right? And I can even filter down to logging if I want to do it. But if I double click on that, then I get all the detail about that drop schema, right? I get the date, category, the drop schema, the application that it came from the user. And let's take a look at some other ones, DMLs, for example, where you can see also the application, the user, and the SQL statement, right? So you can see everything here that you need to see for that specific event. Okay. Now, on some events, let me see if I have any time, and I want to see here DMLs. I want to see updates. Okay. In some of these, and I don't have them here, but in some of this, you also have what we call the before and after. So in this case, I'm doing something from the command line, right? So you can see here that it's basically explicit, right? I changed the name from Thomas to Jeremy. But if I do some other changes also here, I can do what we call the before and after. So for example, I can select on the table of employee, if I change the first name, last name, or salary, only those columns, I want to see a before and after. That means that if I change the first name from John to Peter, I will see that I changed that. It will capture that it's from John, right, to Peter, because in Management Studio, it's not going to show me that information. It's just going to show an add parameter, right? And it's not going to give me that information. It's going to be hidden. But now I can see exactly the value before and after. The salary, same thing. And that is one of the beauties about capturing that information of knowing the value before and after, okay? So in essence, this product, what's going to do is going to give you the power to audit specifically what you want to audit, okay? No more nor less. It's going to be more efficient as far as using resources like CPU and memory. It's going to be more efficient also as far as using the storage where we keep all of this information, which is going to be in a SQL database, but we can manage with archives and things like that, so it's easier to work on a day-to-day basis, okay? And then it's going to give you alerts that you can create alerts as well. So if somebody does something, right, that it's not supposed to do, then I can create alerts. And I can say, for example, if my company has 100 users, 2 of them are DBAs, I can create a rule like if somebody runs a DBCC check DB on the database financial records from an application that is not, that doesn't start with Microsoft. Let's say Microsoft Management Studio, Office, Dynamics, whatever it is. But if it doesn't start with Microsoft, and also it's not one of my 2 DBAs, so 98% of my users, okay, or I'm sorry, 98 users, right? My 98 users, so send me an email because they're not supposed to do that unless it's a application that is Microsoft, right? So rules like that you can create, and they're very efficient to let you know right away if there is an issue or an appropriate action that you might want to take care of. Same thing with sensitive columns. If somebody reads the information on my commission rate, I want to be immediately notified via email on that and see who did it and see why they did it. And I can have a record of that as well. Okay, so that is the main, I guess the main topic of these 2 products, SQL Secure and the SQL Compliance Manager. So now I want to leave some time here so we can do some Q&A. And I don't know if
I have
you want to take it?
answered all my questions already in messages. Yeah.
Okay. And David, I don't know if you want to see some of those questions, if you have access to that, and
Yeah.
See what we need to answer.
Yeah, so there's only a couple of questions that have come through, and we are more than out of time. But let's go ahead and just ask these 2 questions here that we have. The first one just says, if someone brute forces and finally gets access, can you see this? I think this is in regards to one of our security products.
If somebody say that again, if somebody brute force, I see it here.
Yeah, if somebody brute forces their way in and finally gets access, can you see this?
Yes, you can see that because you can see every activity that is coming to a SQL Server. So all the activity, you can see that. You can see the logging if you are capturing that. So obviously, if you say, I don't want to capture logins or logouts or fail logins, you're not going to see that. But if you see, yeah, you can see all of that. You can see all of the activity that is being run by that user. Okay.
Fantastic. Thank you. The next question, it's not really a question. It more says, I don't see a CIS security for 2022. I'm not sure exactly what this was in regards to. This came through about 20 minutes ago.
The CIS security for 2022. I don't know if that was for the secure product when I was showing the create policy. Let me see if that is what he is referring to, or she. And yeah, we don't have one. I'm not sure about that. I can find out about it. Why is it that we don't have one for 2022? But
No
yeah.
worries. Oh, it says, sorry, CIS security policy.
Yeah. So this is the policy here. And we don't have one. We have up to 2019. So we usually do updates on this every quarter or so. So I don't know if something is coming soon or it should be coming soon here.
Excellent. Okay. I have another question that came through. It says, great presentation. Having SQL scripts to check on the security policies is better than the IDERA app, especially on federal infrastructure. So what is the federal government feedback on the IDERA products?
Ooh, I would not know that. I'm not a product manager for this product necessarily. So I don't know what is the feedback that we have necessarily for this. So I couldn't comment on that, to be honest, because I don't have that information.
Okay.
Sorry
Thank
about
you, Ray. No worries. Thank you, Ray. Very much appreciate that. Another question that came through, and we're gonna have to cut this off here because we are out of time. Another question that came through is whether or not we can send the recording or slide deck. I can confirm that everybody here will receive a link to the recording as soon as they wrap up here and as soon as that recording has finished processing over on our side. So please be on the lookout for that. And then a final thing that I would like to note is that SQL Compliance Manager, which was shown just earlier, actually just received its 6.3 update. So there's never really been a better time to go and check that out and see all the amazing things that it can do, especially with this latest update. So be on the lookout for more information about 6.3 if you're interested. And we encourage you to check it out with a free trial or request a more extensive demo if that's of interest to you. In the meantime, I want to thank you, Pinal and Ray, for both of your time, and thank you to our audience for taking the time to join us here. And I hope that everybody has an awesome day. We will look forward to seeing you next time. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. Bye-bye.